Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Mike Survives Things. Today I'm doing the video a little bit differently. So the situation is, while playing this game, I had to sit in a different room than my computer was in. So I couldn't actually have my whole station here with my headphones set up, because I'm on wired headphones. Microphone obviously included in that. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to do a voiceover thing today. Now, today I'm just setting up my measurements. Now, playing this game, I'm gonna tell you right now, the biggest thing you gotta do if you're doing a first time VR to this level is be very careful, okay? It's not a light and easy thing. So, when doing your settings, this is what you want to do. Take off the snap turn, set it to smooth, and I'm kind of playing around here a little bit, but set it to 1. 1's going to be a bit of a slower movement speed, but it's going to help a lot with the motion sickness, because if you looked at my Instagram post, if you're into Instagram, I do have an Instagram, it's Mike_survives_things. The motion sickness just fucked me. It wasn't good. So, off start of the game here, you're going to get a little cutscene. I left it in only for, you know, chance to talk and kind of get things going here. It's a great game so far. But yeah, the motion sickness, I'll give you some good tips. The first time playing this, sit in a chair. Like this guy's doing. Great idea. Trust me. Sit in a chair. Another thing is try to keep yourself in a direction, and a good way to do that is to have any kind of fan just blowing on your face. Like from the direction you want to keep facing. Don't do it in a warm room. Do it in a cooler room. Like put your air conditioning on. Seriously. Because anything helps. Now, don't drink alcohol. Trust me on that one. That's why I got completely screwed up. I only had like 2 or 3 beers throughout the day. Not even like in a hurry. I had 2 or 3 beers and this game screwed me up. So I lasted 5 minutes. This recording when I initially did it lasted about 45, which was tough to do. But you're going to start the game once you figure out the controls, which I'll tell you right now, the throwing mechanic is pretty tough until you get used to it. It's going to have you do some things, throwing some stuff around just to kind of get you in the groove of this game, so to speak. Like I said, it's not easy. It's not easy at all in the brain. This thing here especially, it throws very different from the cup. I guess the game has kind of a weight setting. Yeah, it takes some time to get used to this part, even just the start of the game. Yesterday, like I said, I played this and I got not far past this point when I just got such motion sickness, it really screwed me up. And I did everything. I drank a big bottle of water before I started. I had the fan going on my face. I had air conditioning on, sitting in a well-open room. Sitting, trust me, sitting. But and playing this, I didn't realize before this door opened. I went in here. Now, again, getting used to the VR controls. I'm not very experienced in VR, so this game may have been a mistake. But again, I lasted 45 minutes and I had to just call it quits. I'd never wanted to find a save point in my life ever. Like, this bad. I'm not gonna lie. After about 45 minutes, and yes, I got a bunch of arms dumped on me for doing that, so if you start playing, this room's pretty much a waste of time. You get dumped on with arms. It's kinda silly. But if you go forward, there's a couple things you can play with here. Not really worth your time. That orange locker there has a crowbar. Again, at this point in the game, it doesn't really matter. You're kind of in the training mode to get you know, interested in the game. Here I was trying to store it. I didn't figure that out yet, but I did figure that out later how to store items, which I guess is going to be very handy later. But yeah, through this room you got a bit of a cafeteria. There's really not much going on. I played around for about 5 minutes here. Not worth your time. Just move on. Move on through the tutorial. In this room actually, it's kind of interesting. There's a couple things to read on the wall, but do as you please. But yeah, this game, I'll tell you right now, guys, if you're gonna play this and you've never done VR before, do not start with this. Maybe play some No Man's Sky like I did. That was fun on the VR. It didn't give you too much motion sickness. Again, this game, you even gotta learn to interact with the objects. I tried to throw it up in the air and catch it, but no, not good enough yet. But as I said, this game, I cut a lot of my content out because I was sort of farting around a little bit. But yeah, I definitely highly recommend it. The mechanics are very cool with this. But again, mentally, this ain't friendly unless you're prepared to sit down and play this and just take it slow. Now, I did show at the beginning of the game I was setting my controls there. Apparently I didn't save it, so I'm still getting that snap movement, which I did find out later through the game I was able to fix, which you'll see after, but definitely change it to your free moving mode. Do not do the snap motion, because the snap motion on the camera controls can really... it's too abrupt for me. I wasn't ready for that quick, rapid switch. Here I tried to go to this barrier with my crowbar, but my crowbar got killed. But don't worry, if you're playing it, that's not at all a problem. Because when you go through here, you get to the Museum of the Technical Demonstration Museum. Through here, I'll be honest, I cut out most of the content, but here's where it's more important. Where I pulled up the menu, I figured out how to do that. I think it was Y. On the Oculus Rift anyway, or Oculus Meta Quest 2. I think, yeah, that's it, Meta Quest 2. Make sure you're on smooth, level 1, and it's going to be a lot more playable, really. I haven't played around the settings too much, but I found that kind of works pretty well for me, just if you're getting started and you're not getting too advanced. Again, this is one of those rooms that has nothing. The orange locker, it opens, but it's completely empty. So, don't worry about that. But, bust through the door, stick your hands out, and just do it, okay? Now, to the left of you, you're going to see this room here. You can't go there. Don't waste your time. Just move through, look at the exhibits. Now, here was kind of weird. My hand didn't trip it, but once my body moved through, it made that kind of weird noise. I'm not going to say what I think of that noise, but that kind of noise is a little bit strange. Jumping in this game, because it's one of those VRs you can jump, that is definitely a bit disorienting, so be careful. I definitely recommend, if you're getting a bit screwed up, this is a good place to take a break, if you can. But, yeah, that explains how you duck. I did do the duck down with my real body, but, you know, with the right analog stick, if you pull, like, back towards you, you do crouch as well, so that's kind of an easier way to do it. This room is a bit weird. I tried doing that monkey bar sort of thing. I haven't figured that out totally yet. Like I said, I didn't play around too much here. I just kind of moved through to something more interesting. This rope thing, I found kind of hard to use, to be honest. It was not too obvious, but again, I've only got about probably 45 minutes playing this game, so I'll learn the mechanics a bit. I grabbed with my right hand there to sort of keep myself a little bit feeling more like a human. But right here, I was never more happy to grab a save point in my life. It was just like, oh my god, thank Christ I could grab that. So, that additional items thing, I didn't play with yet, but I saved here. I moved forward. I did go down and try to play the monkey bars, but I'm going to cut that out because, well, I did cut it out because it wasn't worth our time to watch me figure out mechanics. I'm just learning for the first time I have hands here pretty well, I guess, but these balls, again, they're sort of a waste of your time. That's, again, that button's a waste of your time. You can grab a ball, cool, but it just springs back. But the cool thing is, if you slap something, you actually get a slap noise. And when I went up to, I think it was one of these red balls, yeah, so when you go up to... Okay, well, yeah, I was going to play with that a bit, but there's actually a difference between slapping and punching noises, which I thought was pretty cool. I thought it was a pretty cool little, you know, addition. This tricked me. I thought I was going to be walking through that screen into a green field and doing things there, but nope, just wait. You'll see. It's just there to trick you. And yeah, it just falls over. And that's it. It's what you get out of that. Now this room, spend some time in this room. There's some pretty fun stuff to play with. You get some objects, you can play around with them. The punching bag's pretty fun. Again, when you punch the punching bag, it makes punching noises. If you slap it, it actually does make slapping noises, which was pretty entertaining. Yeah, these boxes here, again, none of this does anything to progress your story or anything. You can pretty well just realistically run past this part. I picked up a few things that I didn't even mean to do, but I examined a brick, or sponge sort of thing. But it's again, you play with mechanics and you sort of just try to really just enjoy the mechanics. It's not really about the story or whatever you're actually doing. It's more about exploring and trying to figure out the mechanics. That I just threw over my shoulder because I didn't want it. It was just a yellow cube and it sort of meant nothing to me, to be honest. And here, this was pretty cool. I thought this was pretty fun. Sort of neat mechanic. Anyway, at the end of this little room, it's kind of reminds me of Portal. With Portal, that was kind of a thing too. There's like the companion cube, you gotta dump on the buttons, so that was sort of cool. Here is just a little space where you can break things. There's really not much interesting to happen here. You can break some glass. Kind of cool, but it was neat to see that there's the bulletproof, I guess, glass, like the break-proof glass versus the breakable glass. It's, I guess, sort of a lesson for later in the game, so that you don't have to wonder what you can break and what you can't break. So, yeah, and this little ball, it's unbreakable. It's just a piece of glass that can't be broken. But here is where I figured out something pretty handy. If you use Y or B, I believe it is, in the controls, you can select a bit of your inventory here, and then I figured out the circles is where you can store random items. I guess obviously you got your gun slots, your ammunition slot, but I learned how to store things, which was pretty neat, so I can take them with me and not have to constantly hold on to items, which is pretty cool. So it gives you a few hammers in this room too. I stored that too, just really to play around. Now when it comes to the scenes thing, I don't know, is that break room like a scene, or is it somewhere you can actually just stop and take a break safely and just take your headset off? I don't know, I'm still learning myself, but I'll play with more as I go. Now, coming up here is a pretty neat puzzle. It's the first puzzle of the game. I watched this little screen for about, I don't know, the first 10 seconds just to watch it, but it's pretty neat. You can, anyway, I'll let that explain itself. What I liked here was it kind of gave you a bit of a tutorial here for the first puzzle, but I watched up to that point and said, you know what, I can probably figure this out, and I did. It took me a couple tries trying to figure out what the best way was to move this. Realistically, the best way to move that is to grab it from the other side and pull it across, which you'll see later, because I did screw up and had to restart this and move this twice. So at this point, I was just following what that screen told me to do initially, so get that moved, get this out of the way. Honestly, it's pretty easy to figure out, but I was sort of battling motion sickness by this point, because I was about, I don't know, about 35 minutes in, and this game really, really pushes your brain to a level that's kind of not okay, especially if you're not an experienced VR player. If you notice from the beginning of the video to now, my visual screen did kind of smooth out a little bit. Again, more me getting used to the engine and the mechanics. Pretty much everything about it is really new for me to get used to. Now, I'll bet you if I really wanted to, now that I look at it, I probably could have shortcutted from here to the end of the course. I probably didn't have to do everything they wanted me to. Now here was funny, because I thought I had to climb all the way across that. I actually didn't push that first obstacle further across. And this wall actually looks harder than it is. Because what happens is, I didn't realize below me that I'm actually pushing that wall back over with my dangling legs. You're actually supposed to stand inside that little orange thing. And then stand back a little bit and use the wall to slide it back over. Which, again, I found was a really cool mechanic. It was... You can move the item from one way below, but you moved it a totally different way from above. So I got across this, and I realized I had to move myself up because I was starting to fall off of that platform, because I started realizing that was moving with me. So I got to the end here. Where I got screwed up at the end here, you'll see. It's coming up. So I just kind of pulled myself a little higher to be super sure of myself, because you're not sure until you're sure. Especially with a game like this. So, jump across there. So, anyway, you get to a spot where you get on this elevator and it drops down, but I didn't actually do it right the first time, so I realized once you get to a point, you go on this elevator and it falls down. And if you walk off of it, it springs back up. You gotta pull that lever out to lock the elevator. So when you go up here, it creates that path across your final obstacle. Of at least this point here. But once you jump across here, it gets to the end of what I could even physically / mentally handle actually doing. And again, like I said, I've been never more happy in my life to find a save point. If you liked the video, thank you very much. I appreciate your views. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you enjoy this game. If you plan on getting it, be careful. It's not light on the brain. You gotta be super careful with this one, because you can get serious motion sickness quick. But again, if you like this, if you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, comment, whatever. If you'd like to see more, let me know. Alright, other than that, have a good one, guys, and thank you very much for watching.